welcome back to the channel, guys. So to start off where we left off, and if you remember, we ended off with 3 concepts for Essence of Earth, and good news is we actually managed to move on to the next phase. Client made a decision, and the one we're going to go with is the rock art one. Here, there, I'll put it somewhere here. But yeah, so I'm really happy with that choice. I think there's a lot of potential and things we can do with it. So yeah, I'm just going to spend a little bit more time working on it, and then I'll get back to you guys in a bit. Cool, let's go. Okay, so we're back now. So one thing I just want to show you guys what I did was, I was pretty happy with this idea because like I showed you before, or as you can see in the video, I was busy trying to take that lockup and create like some type of story element in here. So find some type of visual that I could add in there. So I just decided it'd be easier if I just do these parts. So you can kind of see like my train of thinking here was, or my train of thought was to take the mark and then basically just place it on each section to see which one I like, which one works. Because basically what I'm just trying to tell is a story of nature within that element. I kind of am really drawn to my original idea, which was going to be, you can see the orange color is like the farmlands, the general dry farmlands and stuff, but the green is more of like a more lush green grasslands, just to bring a little bit of green back into it. I did obviously try the trees also. This one I'm kind of liking a bit. I don't know how appropriate and relevant it is, but I will work on it a bit. But you can see here I'm bringing the orange back, but in the form of the sun, and then I'm making the grasslands more green, and then I have the trees there. My only problem I have with this design over here, as you can see, is if I make the trees like the olive green that I want to go, then it kind of disappears quite a lot. So yeah, I'm still figuring this one out a bit. Maybe I will do a few renditions, but I think I'm pretty happy at this point. I'm happy with where this design went from here all the way over to the more rock arty vibe, into the more this lockup design that you can see over here that has this South African flag type of element, which is what I want to try and keep. And then also while I was working on it earlier, you could see I also noticed, funny enough, is that the legs make the form of Table Mountain, which I thought was really cool. So it's another version that is unintentional, funny enough, and sometimes this does happen when you're actually doing some design work, is that some unintentional things do happen. But yeah, I thought it was really cool. Table Mountain, you can see Devil's Peak and Lion's Head on the side, and that's the Table Mountain there. So in essence, if I really wanted to, I could actually scrap the South African element and then just focus on the heritage mark, would be the Cape Town mark, and it will make it more specific to Cape Town, which I think is a really cool way of doing it. But I am quite a fan of this lockup in terms of, you can see over here, I like this lockup and where it's heading. So I don't think I'm going to scrap that South African flag. So now you have two heritage elements. You have the South African flag and you have the table mounted. Yeah, and I'm happy with that. I think we've done quite a bit of work on the tablet in terms of sketching out some of my ideas. I think I'm going to move over now to the PC and start rendering this in vector and see if I can improve it and see where it takes me from there. Okay, so as you can see, I moved the sketch and illustrations that I did on the iPad into Illustrator. Yeah, so I'm just going to take you through what I did. So this is actually like a couple of hours later into the future. So yeah, I'm going to take you through what we worked on. So basically we're going to just run through the vectorizing of this logo. So you can see here, I just brought it in, live traced it, and started just breaking it down. As I moved along, I simplified it. You can see here as I continued. This area here, you can see, was always a bit awkward. I tried to fill it up with something to fulfill that lockup, and kind of like brought back the South African flag idea, which was kind of cool. Tried playing without it, tried adding it in there, wasn't very happy. So I kind of like moved away from that. Then I went to a more straighter version of it, which I thought worked quite well. Simplified, sometimes less is more. So you can see then I tried to take a little bit more as I went away. You can see I removed a piece of that. So yeah, so I reached to this point. I was pretty happy with this mark at this point. And I thought, okay, let's take it further, just see what the negative of it looks like. Okay, ignore this for now, we're going to get to that. But then I got to this point over here. So this point over here, as you can see, once you put it on a white mark on black, the problem that I had here at this point was it kind of looked like a polar bear, which I wrote here. I wasn't too happy with that. So I needed to add some more elements that made it look like a cow, which brought me to this. So I added a tail and like some horns, which I thought looked kind of cool. So yeah, instead of having the horns on the cow, I kind of like just had the negative running to the flag, which I thought also worked quite nicely. This was me just writing some notes to myself, the problems of the logo, like the cow needs a horn or bells because it looks like a polar bear basically. So anyway, I just reminded myself. So yeah, so this is what I ended up with. Adjusted it here, so you can see here I had a little bit of a rounded vibe going. And then I kind of went back to like the blocky version of it. But yeah, I thought it worked quite well. And I just wanted to like play around a little bit more with it. Forget about the kerning and all the issues with the text. At this part, I'm just looking at the lockup and not the lockup, but the logo itself. And I'm quite happy with it to where it ended up with. You can see that the various elements all came together quite nicely. So this is the basis of what I had, and then I kind of like developed it further. So yeah, so we have our cow, we have our flag element here that kind of makes like the South African flag. Then we have the elements that make it the cow, like the tail and the horns. And then we have the table mountain here at the bottom, devil's peak, table mountain, and lion's head, which I thought looked quite clean and neat. Then yeah, this is just like thought process. I just wanted to see like what type of things that I want to play around with. So like obviously the badge ideas, and then your traditional vertical lockup, and then your traditional horizontal lockup. And then I was also thinking like, is it possible to create something that doesn't use the cow, like a version that doesn't use the cow? And I'll probably just work on that again. This is just like random ideas that I'm just playing around with as I'm working on the design. And then obviously I needed something that works for social media, that doesn't have all of this. So I'm still thinking about editing the cow's head a bit, just that I have some type of visual that looks cool. It's just the cow's head, so it works well in like a circle space for social media and digital. So that will be a variation of it, which I'm going to do still. And then here's some other variations that I'm playing around with. Here's just some icons. I was thinking of doing some icons which could be cool, like nature, which is the flower and stuff, and then the hooves, and then the cow itself, and then the jaw. So yeah, these are just like throwing ideas. I'm a very big fan of just like throwing random ideas out there. Just get it on a piece of paper, and then you can improve it as you go along. Because for me, I'm very visual, so like if you have all these ideas, it's like, even like in conversation with people, I like to write things down, like have a visual so that I can put my ideas on paper and then we can improve it together. Because sometimes I feel like verbally, when you're like discussing things, it might be a lot of miscommunication, or people's perspective of what you understand and of what you're trying to say always gets like misunderstood sometimes. I like to like see something, so yeah, so that's just like a little bit of me. But yeah, so I just put random ideas. I'll improve it as I go along. But yeah, so this is basically where I ended, and I was pretty happy. And then from here I was like, okay, I have the basis of the mark. Now we can move on to the next step, which is like what you saw in the design here. I wanted to add like these elements and stuff, so that would be the next step. So then we go here, played around with some shapes, geometric shapes to make flowers and elements, started playing around with some trees. Zoanne made like a nice mark in her book. She sketched out a nice mark, so I tried to recreate it. So I recreated like this. I thought it was really cool. I don't know, I really liked it. I didn't use it though here as I went along, but I thought the idea was cool. I just wanted to try every idea as possible. And then I thought like the trees element I wanted to bring back, which I thought was pretty cool. Found some marks online and I wanted to like see what I could simplify it, made it look like. Played around with some elements here, just throw it in, like I said, just throw ideas and then see what it looks like. Wasn't too happy with what so when I was sketching, remember these two ideas I kind of liked when I was sketching, but when I actually vectorized it, I didn't really like the vibe of what it looked like as a logo. Once I cleaned it up, I kind of went back to like this element, which was the basic one at the beginning, and then yeah, so this is what we ended up with, which I was pretty happy about. You can see what I just basically just added the stroke there to represent the beige or the orange. Basically represents like farmland, farm life. It's more of a drier environment, so just farmland. And then the green one's more greenland, green hills, nature, all of that. So just to give contrast and to add another accent color to the brand. But yeah, so played around with a couple of fonts. Kind of like the one that we landed up on, which was Franklin Gothic. I just rounded the edges a bit. As you can see that I didn't want to get too complicated with fonts. So I wanted to keep it as simple as possible. And this is what we ended up with. So I was pretty happy with what it looks like. I think we're gonna go with us moving forward. And this is what I'll probably present to the client next. The other thing that I wanted to just mention is like here, one thing I noticed, like me and Anna was like looking at the logo and we're like, okay, we went back to this polar thing and was like, okay, what makes it look like a polar bear? And yes, this looks like a cow, but like what makes this a polar bear? And obviously with a polar bear there's no tail. But I think the big thing that she noticed actually, which I thought was a good spot, was the snout itself is very short. Now, even though a polar bear has a long snout, just like a cow does, I think like when it's depicted like in illustration and stuff, a lot of bears sometimes have smaller snouts, and that kind of is actually, when I looked at it, it's like, oh, that actually is the reason why it kind of looks like the polar bear to me. So what we eventually did was, you can see I didn't do it there, but what I eventually did is, as I was playing around with this, we were discussing it and we figured out, and you can see here with this one I kind of like made the snout a bit longer, and that's what we ended up with. I think it looks a lot better. If I could, I would have like make a notch here for like the cow's nostrils. If you look at cow's nostrils, it has that notch, but I mean obviously for this lockup we're trying to keep smooth flowing lines just to keep the consistency. And yeah, that's what we ended up with. I'm very happy with where we are now. So the next step, generally, I would like I said, I played around with some fonts, but generally I would now move to creating the other lockups and all that variations. But because of time constraints and kind of need to get this project signed off, we're going to do that at another stage. But for now, I just need to do some concepts for the package design, which I'm going to do next. And yeah, that's what I'm going to do next. But for the package design, I'm just going to do two concepts. The first concept I'm going to do is going to be a very basic just layout one based on layout that's going to be clean, minimal design, and then the other one I'll come up with some type of concept that we can discuss, and something that mimics the elements of the logo, just to have some consistency and add elements throughout the brand that kind of like link towards each other. So yeah, I'll probably end up using like patterns on this logo, so like the farmland and greenland. I'll carry that concept further on probably, and see where it goes. So yeah, I'm gonna now fast forward to the future, and we'll see what happens in a couple of hours, and then I'll see what I come up with. I'll see you guys in a bit. So the idea here, this is what we're currently working on, is doing the thinnest doing the thinnest label, which is the one here on this side, and the focus goes out, and then doing the one on the left, which would be the bigger container, which I will put an image of some of the containers or the jars that pop in. Yeah, so basically just laying it out and just playing around with that. If you could find a nice pattern, I'm also thinking like from that layout, if you have like a visual that comes over like that,
there you could have your heels.
So you could have your heels come back in, your forms and stuff, in color.
Yeah, it's like this one. Oh, but okay, yeah.
Could be something. It's an idea.
Yeah.
Play around with it. Okay, so what I have here is I finally got a hold of the jars. Client sent me the jars. So I have beef tallow jars. So this is the largest one. I think it's 1 liter. I'm just double check. And then this is the smallest one, which is for I think this is 50 grams for the balm. So the skincare. So this is skincare, and then these are the beef tallow. So there is other sizes at the moment. There's 4 sizes that I need to actually set up for. These are the other 2. So this is the bigger skincare one, and then this is the smaller beef tallow. So just to give you an idea, beef tallow, big, small, and then skincare is big, small. So yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take a piece of paper and I'm going to wrap it around here just to like do some measurements, and then I will measure that piece of paper and then transfer the sizes, dimensions to my PC, and then we can work on put in the mock-ups designs that I did in the right dimensions, because what I did before, what you guys saw me just doing was just coming up with a design, but yeah, so I will do that next, and yeah, catch you guys in a bit. Okay, so next up what we want to try and do is work on the package design. So this is another fast forward couple of hours down the line. So I finished the package design. I'm just going to take you guys through quickly. So these are just some of the visuals of the references that I used. You can see some of these are quite simple, very clean, don't really have a lot of graphics going on. So I do want to try and, or I wanted to try and create a version that I didn't have too many elements, and then obviously I have another version that has a little bit of that narrative story that mimics some elements of the logo. So okay, so I'm going to take you first through the narrative concept of the beef tallow. So basically what I have, this is what I came up with. So like you've seen a few minutes ago, there was 2 sizes for each. So for the beef tallow and for the tallow balm, the skincare balm. And basically what I did here was I took these curves for the grasslands and the farmlands, and I decided just to have a little bit of a distinction. I'll make the beef tallow the beige browns, and I'll make the skincare like the greenlands and those things. So this is like more of the natural organic stuff, and this is more of like the farmland, and that's kind of the concept going. And you can see I was just taking these heels and I just made more heels and laid out the information. So a client basically just has like how to apply the balm, the ingredients of the balm, and then like I just made like a small icon saying that it's 100% pure organic tallow, and then yeah, like the size, it's halal, contact details, follow us, so you scan that, takes you to social media links, and then I just added, because of like empty space, I just add like a fun fact. That's not something I'm still discussing with him, but for now, I'm happy to have the fun fact in there. This is the smaller beef tallow, and if you look at the skincare, same concept, but this is like obviously the greens very similar. You can see I just laid it out slightly different. And the wording, so you can see with the logo I just have regenerative balm here, and then on the side I have beef tallow, so that's the difference. So yeah, so that's basically it there. And then on top of the lid I just made a small icon, like a badge emblem that goes on top of the balm. You'll see in a bit. And then yeah, so this is the layout concept. So I kind of like the clean design. The only problem I have is the space is quite empty, but I mean, you'll see what it looks like on the container now in a bit. It looks quite neat, the clean option. So I was quite happy with that, especially on the green. I thought it looked quite nice, just to lay it out quite simply. So yes, that's pretty much it. And then what I did next was I did some mock-ups. So you can see here, so just excuse, obviously there's pickles in there and there's honey in there. So it's just mock-ups that I found that had similar jars. I'll edit that out down the line when I do like a Behance project or something for my portfolio. But yeah, so this is, you can basically see what it looks like. I'm going to show you a real example of what it looks like in reality because I printed it out. And then I was just thinking I could make these small stickers, so if you open it, it kind of breaks the seal. But I think it's not really applicable for the tallow, but I wanted to do something like that for the balm. So I could always just take that type of tag idea and make this sticker have like a notch or a lip that comes down here, and then if you open it, it breaks. Just for skincare products, so people know that it's been opened before. But yeah, so I think it turned out pretty well. It's pretty nice. Here you can see it's the clean option. Here also, just see what the sticker looks like on the top. And the whole point of this was, I mean, like I said at the beginning of the project, there's a startup company. So everything that I was doing here, I was trying to create something that they could apply themselves, or something that was cost effective. So I think we achieved that. It's just about now getting the materials and all of that. So you can see here, I was messing around with earlier concept. This is my original one that I tried, and I tried to do the green, which the green actually looks very nice, which is something I'll discuss with them and see if they want to go that route. But yeah, that's pretty much what we have. So let me just show you what it actually looks like in reality. Okay, so to start off, what I did is I took an A4 page and I basically printed out the sizes. You can see I wrote the sizes on here. You can see various sizes. So basically took an A4 page, wrapped it around the jars, and then measured it, and that's how I got my dimensions. So then I printed out like mock-ups. You can see this is the large jar. This is what it turned out to be. This one came out pretty cool, as well as the beef tallow ones came out pretty cool. You can see the jars came out quite cool. You can read the font quite nice and stuff. However, even though I do like the cosmetic ones, the balms, I like these ones more. And the reason why I like these ones is because of the amber, the contrast of the amber and the green. I think it looks pretty cool. But my only concern at this point is, okay, the label's coming off because I just double-sided taped it. You can see I double-sided taped it back. But yeah, these ones look pretty cool. And the only concern I have is legibility. So now what I need to do is basically just go back on the PC and then adjust the legibility a bit, increase the font size. Maybe I'll have to remove a little bit of information on the smaller ones. And I'll see what I have to do there. But I think in terms of this vlog and this project, I'm pretty happy where it is and where we are currently. So I'm going to call this project complete in terms of the video, but I will edit and stuff offline. And then sometime in future, I'll probably make like a Behance project, like documenting the whole process and just like making a nice project, which I always do with some of the projects, like usually at the end of the year. The other thing I wanted to mention is, I know in the previous vlog, I spoke about the eyewear brand and that client that I was working with, but I decided instead of like bringing that onto the vlog as well, because it's going to make these vlogs long, I'm rather just going to complete that process offline and document it, and then make like a more consolidated, like maybe 10-15 minute video of the entire process from start to finish, so that it can be like one video, just so that I can have a attempt and try a different style of video. So that's what I'm gonna do there. Yeah, so this project is basically done. So like I say, if you like this type of content, then please like and subscribe to the channel. It always goes a long way. Yeah, and if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching the vlogs throughout this journey. Yeah, and maybe just drop a word in the comment. Let's use, let's say, create. So if you drop the word create, then I know you've made it this far. And yeah, love you forever. Cool, so I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll probably tackle a personal project this time, like I need to update my website or something else, maybe my own personal brand or something, while I'm working with client projects and trying to like document it and shoot it a bit differently. But yeah, thanks so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay safe. Bye.